Look at me. Here I am. Right where I belong. Made maps.
We've got Bush. We've got Bush.
I see that face coming back to me like an old familiar song.
Greetings, Starfighter. You have been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Sur and the Kodan Armada.
Let's have a bachelor party with chicks and guns and fire trucks and hookers and drugs and...
All my life, I've been waiting for someone, and when I find her, she's fish. Nobody said love's perfect.
What better place could anyone be? 'Cause you're here with me.
Oh, sexy girlfriend! Knock down that wall, knock down that wall, and knock down that fucking wall.
It's all I've been looking for and so much more. And now I'm here, now you're here. Nothing can go wrong 'cause I am right where I belong.
Hello again, everyone. I'm Chris Vainella, and welcome back to another episode of The Movie Year That Was, a movie year review show where we talk about all the notable movies that came out in the same calendar year. And this is going to be one of the monumental years that we're talking about. Of course, I'm referring to the movie year that was 1984. Oh my goodness, so many huge movies came out in this year. We've kind of been going through a run of these big years since we've been doing this in 2024, and 1984 is no different. It's another very, very big year. With me to discuss all these movies is my brother-in-law and fellow movie enthusiast, Edward Schilling. Turns out this winds up being a really, really long episode, so I'm not even going to promise that this is going to be any shorter than any of the other ones. It's actually going to be a lot longer than some of the other ones. So please join us now as we begin our long journey through the movie year that was, in the first part of the movie year that was 1984. Okay, so welcome back to the movie year that was. My brother-in-law and fellow movie enthusiast, Edward Schilling. Edward, what's going on?
I'm good. Not too much.
Great. I know we had every time we do this podcast, it's like we're doing it for the first time with how long it takes for us to actually connect on Zoom. But we finally reached each other and we're ready to do this episode, this monumental episode.
Yes.
So, when I first approached you about doing 1984, the year we're doing this year, you took a look at all of the movies that came out this year, and what was it that struck you so much about this year?
Basically that there's just so much in it that was such a huge hit. I mean, it became an issue for me to try and figure out exactly what would fit in the list and how.
So let me give you a little bit of background as to why it took so long for us to do this particular year. Because I did a lot of prep for this year, for the 1984 episode of this podcast, but I did it over 2 years ago because this was supposed to be the inaugural, the pilot episode of this show was supposed to be the movie year that was 1984. Keith Sargent, who's been a guest on the show before, and I were going to do it, and he was supposed to be my regular guest. And the reason I chose that year is because that was the year that he and I met. I'm still hoping to get him on this episode, just to do his own top 10 list. It feels wrong to do this without him because not only is this year a monumental year, but it's also an anniversary year because this year is 2024. So the movie year that was 1984, all these movies are 40 years old this year. That also was the reason why I couldn't wait any longer to do this episode. I was gonna wait until Keith was available again to do the episode, but he is busy all the time because he has an incredibly busy schedule. But I couldn't wait any longer because if I don't do it this year, I'm going to miss the anniversary year. Since all these movies are 40 years old. Can you believe all these movies are actually 40 years old this year?
Yeah, I'm feeling that, but definitely, it seems like it was just yesterday they came out.
I know, right? And it's incredible. So anyway, so I did a lot of I had a lot of research. I didn't think I had to do any research in order to prepare for this week, but when I went back and looked at my notes, I realized that I've added a lot of things to the podcast that weren't going to be in the pilot. So I still had half the work to do. But let's just talk about 1984 because this was a year that a lot of people think is like the apex of the modern, what we think of as modern day, like American pop culture. Because not only were there a lot of incredibly influential movies that came out in this year, there was a lot of television going on. There was a lot of great music that was out at the time, and um, even sports with the Lakers and Celtics and the Olympics coming to California in '84. Um, all of that was made America like this great pop culture. I mean, we were at the height of American pop culture right at this time period.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I was thinking about this, and this is the last episode I'm going to do of this podcast before my first video podcast that I'm going to do for the movie year that was. And I wanted to get this year in, well, not just because it was an anniversary year for these movies, but because it's also a monumental year. I'm going to talk about this more when I do the video episode of this podcast where I don't do any one year. I do I do a recap of all of the years and kind of, give us a rundown of where we are as far as where all these movies rank against each other. And so I'm going to talk about that more when I do that, but I want to touch on it here. And that's this idea of the era of movies as opposed to a generation of movies. We're around the same age. You and you're a little bit older than I am, but we're around the same age. And so I think we're in the same generation age-wise.
Oh yeah.
So what I mean is that when you talk about what is part of our generation of movies, and that exists in a number of different eras. There are a number of different eras within our generation of movies. So to define where 1984 lands in both the eras and generation is different. 84 is not smack in the middle of it, but it's, I don't know, what does that mean? It's we're not the middle yet of our generation, but it's almost at the middle.
I think it hits its high gear is what you're looking for.
Well, that's true. I was going to get at that too. Now, as far as the era of movies, I think that it's safe. Again, I was thinking about this and kind of trying to break this down. And I think that the era that 1984 exists in started in 83, goes from 83 until about 1990. So if you think about all of the movies that came out between 83 and 1990, they all kind of feel like they're of the same group. And the easiest way to think about it is that Risky Business was 83. Okay? Silence of the Lambs was 1991. And they kind of feel like they're different eras.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay? So, but anything that happened in between those really kind of feel like they belong in the same group. So this is the era that we're talking about. And again, I touched on at the beginning that this is kind of like the heyday of American pop culture. So 1984 has a lot of movies in it that we connect with in a great deal. That's the reason why I think you had such a hard time narrowing down what were your favorite movies of this year. This was the longest list you have given me of any top 10, top anything of. You actually gave me 21 movies, which I love, by the way. You know that. I think you know how I feel about top 10 lists. I do not conform to just has to be 10. If the 20th movie deserves to be on the list, put it on the list. I don't care. Anyway, outside of those movies, there really aren't a lot of also ran movies. There aren't a lot of kind of forgettable movies that came from 84. Not a lot. There are some. I actually went back and looked at it again. There are a little bit more than I thought there were, but There are not a lot of forgettable movies from '84. All the ones that we remember seem, I think, have a great connection to us. And again, I've said this on many other episodes. A lot of that has to do with our age when we saw them, because
Yeah.
movies were so big. It was such an important thing, especially to go to the movie theater to see a movie was like going on vacation. It was like going on vacation for the afternoon. It was like going to, because you were going to a different world, and it was, everything was so big and loud and wonderful, and everything tasted so good, and just the previews, the experience was, it still is like that to me. So anyway, so let's quickly, do you remember how many of these movies you actually saw in a movie theater?
I didn't go down that, but I could probably figure it out. I don't know that I saw all of them. Probably everything in the top 21 that I had, but
You
there's
actually saw
probably
them
a
too?
few others that I saw in the theater as well.
Okay, well, you know what? We can talk about that. Just think about it when we bring up a movie. If you did see it in the theater, you can mention it. I saw a lot of these movies in the theater too. I know I saw Ghostbusters and um, Muppets Take Manhattan, and back to back weeks, saw them in the movie theater. I know I saw Karate Kid and Johnny. I'm pretty sure I saw Johnny Dangerously. I know I saw Splash in the movie theater. So there are a lot of movies from this year that I saw in the theater itself. Very, very big movie theater going time for my family. And like I said, I was 7 going on 8 this year. So, right? No, that's 84. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Am I set right? Did I do the math right? I was born in 75. So I'm 8 going on 9. Sorry. Did my math wrong. I'm 8 years old, um, going on 9.
Yeah, it was 12.
In 84. So let's do a little bit of housekeeping here real quick. There, according to Wikipedia, there were only 162 movies that came out in this year, which is not a lot. It's not the least. I don't think it's the lowest number we've done on the show yet, but it's pretty low. It's pretty almost the lowest. Speaking to my point about how weren't all too many movies from this year, although the ones that are notable are very notable. And of those 162 movies I counted, I saw 58 of them. So if I saw
Nice.
any more than that, I just don't remember the titles. So that's pretty good. And of those 58, I have a list that I wanted of my favorites. That's like, I think 30 something. No, I think it's like 30 something long that I have. Every year I make a favorites list of my favorite movies from every year. And 1984's list is 35 long. So of the 58 movies that I saw in 84, I decided to put 35 of them on my favorites list. So again, it speaks to your point of how much we like these movies. I started doing this on the last episode. I'm going to continue to do this. There were 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry. There were 10 sequels that came out in 1984. There was Friday the 13th, Final Chapter, Indiana Jones Temple of Doom, Star Trek 3, Cannonball Run 2, Conan the Destroyer, Muppets Take Manhattan, Meatballs 2, 2010 was a sequel to 2001. Now, I had a question about that actually. Supergirl, do you consider Supergirl a sequel?
Um, wow, that's a hard one. I mean, it definitely takes place in the same universe as the Christopher Reeve Superman, because Jimmy Olsen's a crossover character.
Like a
Um,
it's not really,
I
maybe it's not a traditional sequel, right? It's maybe,
yeah, it's like a side quel, if that's a word.
so they exist in the same universe, but they're not necessarily a sequel of each other, not necessarily. All right, so I put a little question mark by that. And then Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo was also a sequel from 84. So how many part ones do you think there were? Like, yeah, right, movies that wound up having sequels. There were a lot of very notable movies that wound up being sequeled in 1984.
Hmm. I don't know, honestly. I mean, probably at least 5.
All right, there were 10. There were 10
Wow.
movies that wound up having sequels. There was Ghostbusters, Terminator, Karate Kid, Revenge of the Nerds, Beverly Hills Cop, Gremlins, Never Ending Story, Romancing the Stone, A Nightmare on Elm Street, and Police Academy all had their first parts in 84.
Wow.
So that was cool. So the highest grossing film, I know, it's amazing, right? So, all right, so the highest grossing films from 1984. It's a pretty, I could give you a guess if you want. You want to take a guess what the highest grossing film in 1984 was?
I would say Indy probably.
That's a good guess, and it's on the list. It came in third. I'll give you one
Wow.
more guess if you want. I'll give you one more guess.
Wow, that's a tough one. Then I guess it's got to be Ghostbusters.
There you go. Ghostbusters was number one. Excellent. So number one on the box office was Ghostbusters, followed by Beverly Hills Cop. Temple of Doom was 3. Gremlins was 4. Karate Kid 5. Police Academy 6. Footloose 7. Romancing the Stone 8. Star Trek 3 was 9. And Splash rounded out the top 10 list with Splash. Those were the highest grossing films of this year. Okay, so in speaking of top 10 lists, I've gone back and listened to some of the other episodes, and I really like the episodes where right off the bat we start off with the top 10 lists. Instead of doing the also ran movies first and then getting into it, we're going to launch right into it, and we're going to start by counting down our favorite movies from 1984.
Sounds good.
All right, so we're going to start at 10. Now, it's going to make it a little bit more difficult for me because I have to find these movies in Wikipedia so that I can talk about anything that I don't remember. All right, so let's start counting down our favorite movies from 1984. Let's start with your top 10. Now, we shared 5 movies on our top 10 list. However, in every year, every movie, and every time we shared one, it was higher on your list than it was on mine. So you get to, so the rule is if it's higher on your list than it is on mine, you get to keep it on yours and I have to change mine. So I didn't have to adjust your top 10 list at all. Your top 10 list is exactly as you gave it to me. So we're going to start with your top 10 movie of 1984. Do you remember which one that was?
Oh yeah, I got my list in front of me. That's The Last Starfighter.
That's right, The Last Starfighter. Okay, so this one, I don't know how much people know this one. This is a movie that really, I think, speaks to us as in our generation more than it speaks to other people. I don't know if I asked my kids about this movie, I bet they've never even heard of it.
I tried to show my nephew. He was bored out of his mind.
Okay, so you know what? I'll give you take the lead here on Last Starfighter. What was it that stuck with you so much that you put it on your top 10 list?
You know, it's a funny thing. I mean, first of all, it was one of the first films to extensively use computer animation in a film. So I think that kind of stuck with me when I was younger. But as I got older, I think I just like the story from it. I mean, it's that atypical story. A kid out of nowhere, plucked out of the middle of nowhere, saved, brought in to save the universe. So you got that great story and some great acting in the film too, despite the fact that it has computer graphics that doesn't hold up at all. But
true.
It's just a great hero story.
That's true. The special effects are little dated. They're not too bad actually. I've seen it not very long ago, and the last time that I saw it, you could tell that it's an older movie because, like you said, the graphics on the animation aren't that good. I like the fact that it's like a video game movie. It's like a movie that highlights people who play video games. And back in '84, although video games were becoming increasingly more popular, they really weren't that prevalent as certainly not as they are now in our society. So a movie about a kid who playing a video game was still kind of new to the movie landscape. And this was more like it wasn't a home video game. It was like an arcade game, right?
Yeah.
He was playing an arcade. So an arcade game was sent in our main character is playing a arcade game that is outside of his trailer park, right? Within he lives in this little trailer park community, and there's a video game, and the name of the video game is The Last Starfighter, and he got really good at this video game, and everybody in the trailer park community knew that he was the best at it, and he was going for the record. Apparently it had this like high score that nobody had ever beaten, and when the scene where he finally beats the game is a great scene. They treat it like this incredibly dramatic moment. It is a pretty dramatic moment in the film.
Hey, listen up, everybody! Alex is going for the record! Take a hand. Got him. Oh, he's coming to get that. Get back! Don't crowd us! I said get back!
Great hero moment for him when he beats this game for the first time. But it turns out that the game was just like a what is it, like an application, like a test.
Yeah, it's a recruitment.
Like a recruitment, right? Exactly, a recruitment tool that was sent all across the galaxy to find the greatest pilots, the greatest people who could use these, whatever, all the whatever
The controls.
the control. Thank you, the controls. And the people who scored the highest in the game were recruited to actually go on this real mission and fly a ship that operates the same way as the video game does. So, but our main character doesn't know this. He just thinks that he's playing a video game. And one day, this guy shows up, played by Robert Preston. By the way, Lance Guest is the guy who plays the kid, the Last Starfighter, and Robert Preston is the guy who comes to recruit him, and he's got to explain that this is real. This is actually happening. It's not just a video game, and he's got to go off and try to save the universe.
The amusing thing about this, it's all a big mistake. That particular Starfighter game was supposed to be delivered to Vegas, not some flea-specked trailer park in the middle of tumbleweeds and tarantulas. So it must be fate, destiny, blind chance, luck even, that brings us together. And as the poet says, the rest is history.
What's the name? Zurg? Is that the name of the bad guys? That is it the bad people, or is it like Zurg is the main bad guy's name? Or
He is, yeah. He's leading a group called the Kodan Armada.
Oh, right. That sounds familiar.
Yeah, but yeah, he's like the head. He was like the son of the like president of the good guys, and he strikes out on his own and is trying to erase what his father had done.
Right. Oh, that's right. It's kind of like an outcast. And
Yeah.
And he decides to stage a coup and take over the galaxy. And
Hear me, Rylans. When the green moon of Galan is eclipsed, Kodan our mother will invade. And not even your mighty starfighters will be able to save you.
And anyway, so if our Last Starfighter doesn't help defeat this armada, then eventually they will come and take over Earth too. So a lot of fun. This is actually a really fun movie. I remember watching this a lot. I didn't see this in the theater. I didn't see this till the next summer, but I think I may have seen it on video the first time that I saw it. And there's that great line when he says, "What, one Star Destroyer, one Starfighter against a whole armada? That's a slaughter."
There's no fleet, no starfighters, no plan. One ship, you, me, and that's it?
Exactly. Zor thinks you're still on Earth. Classic military strategy. Surprise attack.
It'll be a slaughter!
That's the spirit.
No, my slaughter!
And then the creature who's in the cockpit with him, I forget his name, says, "Yeah, that's the spirit." And he goes, "No, my slaughter."
The ironic thing about that character is that is played brilliantly by Dan O'Hurley, who was in Halloween 3. Most people probably remember him from that, and RoboCop. He was the head of the OCP in RoboCop. And oddly enough, has a hell of a Halloween connection, considering he's in it. Lance Guest was in Halloween 2, and Nick Castle, the director, was the original Michael Myers.
Wow, what a connection!
What a weird connection, but
that is a weird connection. All right. This is a part that I forgot to mention when it came to The Last Starfighter. There's a scene where Alex has come back and he meets like his other self, like Centauri put like a beta version of himself, left him in the trailer park so no one would realize that Alex was gone. And his younger brother, Lewis, who shares a bedroom with him, wakes up in the middle of this confrontation, and one of the real Alex says to him, go back to sleep, Lewis, or I'll tell Mom about your Playboy.
What's up, Alex? Back to sleep, Lewis, or I'll tell Mom about your Playboy.
And so he goes to sleep. And then Lewis hears one of the Alexes leave, and then the fake Alex is still in the room with him. And Lewis looks down and he sees there's still an Alex in the room, even though he heard one of them leave. And then the other Alex repeats, it goes, I told you, go back to sleep, Lewis, or I'll tell Mom about your Playboy.
What the shit? I said back to sleep, Lewis, or I'm telling Mom about your Playboy.
Anyway, that just missed my top 10. I did not have that movie on that was like, I think my 11th or 12th. That was made my honorable mentions of 84, but it didn't make my top 10 list. So that's why I got to stay on yours. Sorry. So my top 10, my adjusted top 10 is the Neverending Story. All right. So Neverending Story. This is another movie that I first saw on cable. I did not see this in the theater. And I think this was a movie that I saw when I was homesick from school. Just like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which is weird because I saw that when I was actually homesick from school. And the reason why that's ironic is because the kid is ditching school, right? This kid is like actually in school, but he's up in like the attic of school, and he's hiding out from his classmates because he's like, I don't know, he's like not really a nerd, but he's a geek, I guess, and he's an outcast, and he feels like he's a loner, and so he goes up to the attic of the school, and he spends the afternoon into the evening reading this book that this one shop owner gives him while he was running away from the bullies that were chasing him. This bookstore shop owner gives him this book. Or does he steal it? Do you remember Neverending Story? Do you remember the movie Neverending Story?
I have seen it, but I got to be honest, I haven't seen it in a very long time, and I think mainly because the horse drowning scene traumatized me, and I just couldn't watch it again.
Oh man, we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, so I think he either steals the book from the shop owner or he gives it to him for free. I'm pretty sure he steals it. But anyway, I think the shop owner intended him to steal it. Anyway, so he's reading this book, and he's transported to this other world, obviously, and we get to see the book, much like Princess Bride, that somebody's reading a story and we're seeing the movie of the person reading the story, right? And it's a wonderful movie. It's directed by Wolfgang Peterson, and it just tells the story of Atreyu, the book the kid is reading, and he's such a great hero, right? He's got the horse. I forget the horse that you're talking about. I forget.
Falcor.
Yeah, Falcor. Oh man, right. And the scene where he has to go through this swamp, Falcor doesn't make it. Spoiler alert for Neverending Story, and that is a very, very, very sad moment in the movie.
Artex, you're sinking. Come on, turn around. You have to now. Come on, Artex.
Atreyu's got to continue on by himself, and Atreyu is our age at the time. He's actually the boys in the story's age too. So a very easy for us to connect with this great young warrior hero. And he's got a quest across this land to try to find I didn't even forget what he's trying to find, but he's trying to save the life of this princess, who's the only way that they could stop the Nothing. Okay, the Nothing is just this cloud of nothingness that is just erasing everything in its path. And the princess, who is this beacon of life affirming energy, she has to be revived in order to defeat the Nothing. And so Atreyu is set on a quest to try to save the princess. And so anyway, long story short, this kid turns out to be the key to the kid reading the story. actually is part of the story. He doesn't realize it until he gets to the end. And so it's a little bit, not a little bit, it's a fantasy. It's a fantasy in every level. The story he's reading is a fantasy. The movie is a fantasy. And so what is the creature that he gets to fly? God damn, I can't remember the name of the creature he gets to fly. Oh shoot, what is the name of that creature? That big white creature that he gets to fly?
Maybe that's what the character. Maybe that's what's a Falcor or whatever. It's been a lot. I don't think I've seen it since it was on cable. So
Yeah, all right. I'm gonna have to put that in the corrections. But that character, that creature is very, very cool. And the fact that he gets to fly this creature, it really does. The movie turns from the moment that he meets this creature because
Like children.
For breakfast?
Never. I'm a luck dragon. My name is Falcor.
And my name is...
Atreyu. And you're on a quest.
How'd you know that?
You were unconscious. And you talked in your sleep. So, little fella, you're on your way to the Southern Oracle?
Yes. But it's hopeless. It's too far away.
Oh, I wouldn't necessarily say that.
You know how to get there?
Why, sure. It's right around the corner.
How'd all this happen?
With luck.
You've already brought me the entire 10,000 miles?
No, only 9,891.
wonderful movie. I'm really glad that it made my top 10. And like I said, most people our age will remember the movie Never Ending Story. I'm probably not the only person who thinks that it's on their top 10 list. All right, so getting to your next movie, number 9 on your list. Oh yeah, this was one that I had never seen or heard of. And that was a movie called Angel. So you're going to have to help me out. I have never seen and or heard of the movie Angel. And guess what? Angel was the very first movie that was released in 1984.
Angel is if I ever had a chance to remake a movie, Angel is probably the movie I would make.
Really?
Yeah. It tells the story of a girl. She's a teenager. She's in school. She was kind of abandoned by her parents. Her father walked out. Her mother passed away from some sort of illness, and she continues to support herself in Los Angeles, and even manages to enlist herself in a private school so that she can go to school and everything. So by day she's a normal student. By night she is supporting herself by walking the streets as a hooker.
Wow. How old is she?
Like 16, 15, something like that.
Whoa. Oh man, I would
Yeah.
talk about your canceled movies.
Yeah. It's kind of a brutal movie in a lot of ways. She has her people that kind of support her. She is supported by this man who's a transvestite. She's kind of like a mother figure for her and helps cover for her. And she has friends on the boulevard and things of that nature that they kind of look out for each other.
Is this played like a comedy or a drama or both?
No, it's played as a drama. There are some bits of comedy in it too, that are funny. Like some of the bits with the transvestite are kind of funny. He'll crack jokes about the Johns and stuff of that nature. But it is definitely a drama movie. And it's set against a cop investigating this serial killer who's killing people on the boulevard throughout the night. And of course, eventually, the two stories are slowly intertwining to the point where he is chasing her to kill her, and she ends up grabbing like a 357 that her landlord has, and all her stories come crashing down. The whole thing of hiding who she really is, it comes crashing down in school. Hiding from the fact that she's living on her own, and the cop wants to help her and things of this nature. So it all comes crashing down to the final confrontation with the serial killer, and
How does she come to the serial killer's attention? Just from walking the streets at night?
yeah, walking the streets, he kills a friend of hers as well, a couple friends of hers. So it all becomes tied in towards the end of the movie, and it's just a very dramatic film and very oddly enough action packed. It's actually one of my all-time favorite movies. Definitely, it's such a bright movie in a lot of ways, because the Hollywood Boulevard is shown like to be this spectacular, almost carnival-like place. But yet at the same time, you see how deadly it is and how she's trying so hard to keep her life together on the thought that her father will one day come back, but he's never coming back.
Uh-huh.
But I really do love it. It's a great movie.
Wow, well, that's great. I mean, you always have at least one really obscure movie on your list. That one I'm interested in checking out, because just from your description of it, it sounded like something very interesting. Really, probably maybe just one of those hidden gems that I don't think most people have ever heard of that movie. I know I never heard of it.
Yeah, it actually spawned 3 sequels, but the 3 sequels are not even worth watching at all.
Oh boy. Did they become slasher after the first one, or?
No, the second one is almost like a comedy for some bizarre reason. Like they tried to inject a lot of comedy into the second one. And the third and fourth ones, they're just churning out movies that really weren't needed and are lower and lower in standard every
I just
film.
figured they would lean into the serial killer kind of killer aspect of the story. That's where I thought they were going to go.
Yeah, no, like in the third one, she finds out she had a sister or something, and she's got to go rescue her from the because she slowly like becomes like a lawyer, and then eventually finds out she has a sister, and she has to go rescue her and take revenge for somebody who kills the cop who had adopted her. So there's a lot of other stories, but it none of them compare to the original. The original just holds up to be the best.
Sounds like a bad paperback book series.
Yeah, it kind of feels in that way. Yeah.
All right, so my number 9 movie, again, my from 10 to 6 were not originally on my top 10. They just moved up because I had to replace movies on my list for Edwards. But this would have made my honorable mentions anyway. And my number 9 movie is Splash. This is Tom Hanks and Daryl Hannah, John Candy, and Eugene Levy are all star in this film. This was directed by Ron Howard, and not Ron Howard's first movie, but still pretty early in Ron Howard's career. He was not the prestigious Oscar caliber director that we know of him today. He was still making, I don't want to say silly, but lighter fare. Let's just call it that. Because this is a very charming, sweet movie. But it has silliness in it, I guess. And this, like I said, this is a big showcase for the two main stars, Hanks and Daryl Hannah. And let's see, had Daryl Hannah, was this like her breakout performance? This was her breakout performance, right, Splash?
Yeah, I believe it was. I
I
can't really recall. The only other film I remember from that early in her career is Plan of the Cave Bear, but I don't think that was a breakout performance in any way.
Well, I'm looking at her stuff right now, and she had been around for a while. She was in Blade Runner in '82. Was that a breakout hit for her? I mean, the movie was a hit, but was that a breakout hit for her?
Wow. I didn't even remember she was in it.
I was gonna say, you don't even remember she was in that movie, huh?
Yeah.
All right, so she must have been an also. I don't really. I mean, I remember Blade Runner, but I don't remember her in it. So I guess that she was just in it though. But anyway, she had been around for a while, so maybe this was her breakout hit. Tom Hanks plays this. What is he? He's like a food distributor. Yeah, that's what he's like. He owns this like food distribution company, and John Candy is his brother, and so they're kind of running the business together. And Hanks has this thing where he fell into the ocean. He fell off a ferry when he was a little boy, and he was saved by a mermaid, and nobody believes him. And he grew up thinking that this mermaid saved his life, and everybody had just kind of convinced him that he was imagined the whole entire thing. Anyway, he grows up to be Tom Hanks, and again, I forget why he was out on the ocean, but again, he was out on the ocean, and he winds up getting knocked off of this boat, and this time he's just a little dinghy, I think it was, and he was going to die. He was going to drown. And Daryl Hannah, who was the little girl who saved him from the beginning, saves him again and brings him to shore and saves his life. And because now they've run into each other twice, Daryl Hannah decides, much like the Little Mermaid, to come to shore to find Hanks and be with him because she thinks that they're meant to be together.
Remember when you were 8 years old and you fell off the ship? You were safe under the water, weren't you?
Yeah.
You were with me.
You mean that was real? You mean that was you? That was you!
How much of this movie do you remember?
The basics. I haven't seen it in a very long time, but I do remember it being very kind of a funny and touching tale.
So anyway, Eugene Levy plays this scientist who thinks that he's seen this mermaid and he's on the hunt to try to find her and prove that she exists. So Hanks just thinks that she is some woman who saved him from the ocean, and he doesn't know that she's a mermaid, and she's like keeping it from him. Meanwhile, they're falling in love. It has a lot of slapstick moments in it. There's a great scene. I can't put the clip of it in here because you can't hear it, but there's a great scene where Hanks is chasing after Daryl Hannah's character, and he's up on his floor of his hotel room, and he has to get downstairs, so he pushes the elevator, and there's two elevators, one on both sides of the hall of his lobby, whatever, the hallway. So he pushes both of the down buttons, and just him trying to figure out which elevator is going to go down first, just seeing his eyes dart back and forth, waiting for it, was so funny. That just recently, I was with my sister Victoria, and we were doing that. We were like by an elevator. Actually, Ronnie, if she's there with you, I don't know if she remembers we did this. She was with us too. And we pushed both down buttons, and we were just like Hanks, waiting for the elevator, which one was going to open. It's such a funny sight gag.
That's funny.
With him. Anyway, he has a lot of moments like that. One other one that I like, it's so little, it's such a little moment, but it's something that's always stuck with me, is at the beginning of the movie, he puts a mango, because he's in whatever, he's in food distribution. He's on his way to his office. He's feeling really happy, and he takes a mango and he puts it on his shoulder, and he sings the song.
Mr. Mango on my shoulder.
He sings, Mr. Mango's on my shoulder. It cracks me up every time. Every time I see a mango, I say that because I always think about it. There's a number of different moments like that he has in this movie that are like that. John Candy, like I said, plays his brother, and he's mostly there for slapstick purposes. This was a big slapstick run for Candy, and Hanks too, I guess. Hanks is still making silly movies at this time. Bosom Buddies is still on in '84, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So all right, so he hadn't left Bosom Buddies yet. So this, or maybe he just left it. But so he's still hot off of that. And it was rare that television actors successfully made the transition to movies. But when they did, it was big. You know, Michael J. Fox and Tom Hanks were two of the most notable from this generation to go from television to movies during this time period. But Hanks definitely did it in a big way and it all started with a string of these really silly comedies. Almost all of them romantic comedies. Anyway, as I mentioned, John Candy is his brother, and he has one of the more memorable lines in the movie. because Hanks is kind of trying to play it off, the fact that this relationship of his isn't going to work out. And he says, that's fine. People fall in love every day. Why does the girl I fall in love with have to be a mermaid? And John Candy tells him, it happens every day, right? You think so? You think that happens every day? And it's just that I'll let him do it. I'll let him quote, I'll quote, whatever. I'll put the clip of him saying that in here because to me, it's one of the more touching moments of the movie. You don't expect it from Candy because he had been so silly the rest of the movie.
Every day people meet and they fall in love every day, and look what I got. Look what you got. Yeah, let's look at what you got. Let's take a good look at what you got. People fall in love every day, huh? Is that what you said? Yeah. Yeah? Well, that's a crock. It doesn't work that way. Look, do you realize how happy you were with her? That is, of course, when you weren't driving yourself crazy. Every day, come on. Some people will never be that happy. I'll never be that happy.
Oh, by the way, I stand corrected on Daryl Hannah. She was the third replicant, Pris, and I think I forget that she's in it because her face is all painted white with the black across her eyes, so it's very. I kind of forget that she's in it.
So, still not a standout performance, not a career-making performance for her because most people don't recognize that was her.
Yeah, I'm sure people probably do. I just for some reason my mind blanked on it.
And the one other funny line that I want to put in from here is when they're trying to break Daryl Hannah out of she's being kept by scientists once she's discovered, and they're trying to break her out, and John Candy has to speak Swedish, I think it is, and he knows a little bit of Swedish, and I think it's because he's like a dirtbag kind of like sleazeball. He knows porn. He probably watches like Swedish porn. And so the only line he could tell these scientists is a line that he probably learned from a porn movie. So he says this line in Swedish, and you hear in the subtitles that it says he has an enormous penis or something like that. And then the scientists, when they hear that, they just think it's fucking hilarious, and they let them go.
Vad gör en svensk vetenskapsman så långt väg från Sverige?
Hey, Raring! Jag har en turf and en Tom's penis.
John Candy has no idea what he just said. But I'll quote him saying something in Swedish, and it turns out I think he says something like, I have a 12-foot penis, I have a 12-inch penis, or something like that was the line. You see it subtitled in the movie. It's really, really funny. One of the funnier lines in this movie. A lot of these movies, we're going to get to a thing where even though we have great affection for a lot of these movies, I don't remember a lot of them because I didn't go back and rewatch them just because I assumed that since I love them, I'm going to remember them all. But there may be some details about some of these movies that we're not going to remember as well. But let's keep going. We can't have a top 10 list from a year where there was a Star Trek movie in it and it not make your top 10 list. So your number 8 movie from 1984 is Star Trek 3.
Yeah, Star Trek 3, I know there's that rumor of the odd movies aren't as good. I would say Star Trek 3 actually kind of bucks that trend. It is maybe not as good as the previous movie, Wrath of Khan, but it certainly has a lot of emotions and a lot of changes going through this. It sees Spock starting off with Spock having died in the last movie, the resurrection of Spock, Kirk losing his son, which is probably one of William Shatner's best moments in acting ever when he finds out his son gets killed.
David.
Admiral, David is dead.
Come on, Passenger, kill us. Oh. Turn on, Passenger. Kill my son. Climb on, bastard.
Yeah.
Backs up into that chair and stumbles. The loss of the Enterprise. It's not exactly a fun film. It's kind of dark and depressing in a lot of ways, but it still manages to pull out that camaraderie that they've always had.
Well, I revisited Star Trek 3 a couple of years ago, I think it was on right after 2. That was very cool because, like you said, they do flash back to 2 in 3, to give you that sense. So they give you a little taste of 2. And I just think that it had a bad reputation at the time because it was, like you said, it was darker than 2, and 2 was just like this, one of the great science fiction films of the time. And people thought that it wasn't going to get any better as far as Star Trek films. And to this day, many people think that Star Trek II: Wrath of Khan is the best of all the Star Trek movies. So the sequel to that, to Star Trek II, was obviously going to have a rough go of it. It was going to have a lot to live up to, obviously, and was going to be judged, with a really tough eye. And so it did not survive the original criticism. Like you said, people thought it was too dark, and it was just a disappointment after the second one. It was a real fall off from the second one, and just wasn't as good. So it had to live up to the reputation of the second one. So, but if you're taking 3 as its own movie, it's still very good. I actually think this is a underrated of the Star Trek movies. This is probably one of the more underrated Star Trek movies. Would you say that? Would you think this is the most underrated of all the Star Trek films?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a great movie on its own, even if you haven't seen the other films. And I still count the scene of them stealing the Enterprise as possibly one of the most tension-filled scenes where nothing really happens. I mean, they're stealing the ship and they just got to get it out of space dock and get past those doors. But it's such a tension-filled scene, the way the music plays it and the actors play it, that it works beautifully.
Yeah, they draw it out. They definitely draw it out, and it turns out nothing happens. Well, I mean, it goes off without incident anyway. They do.
Yeah.
But so what is it that I wanted to mention about this film? I mean, I guess you pretty much covered it. We get a Christopher Lloyd sighting, and this is after Taxi, but before Back to the Future. So this is still, well, Christopher Lloyd was already on the scene because of Taxi, so this really wasn't a big movie for him. But I think it was kind of odd to see him in a sci-fi movie.
Also odd to see him as a villain, really. I mean, he only has a couple villains in his whole thing. Like, I can only think of the Judge Doom as well as another villain for Lloyd.
Well, he was in Who Framed Roger Rabbit was the villain.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only other villain character I can think of him in.
Yeah. Leonard Nimoy directs it.
He does. Yeah, it's his directing debut.
This was his first movie that he directed. Okay.
Yep. And also, John Larroquette actually is one of the Klingons as well.
Yeah, I did see his name in the cast.
Which is kind of funny. He recently kind of reprised that on the new revival of Night Court, which was kind of funny.
That is funny. I will he's gonna come up again when we do Actor and Actor of the Year, because he was in a couple of movies this year. But okay, so what's next on our top? What's mine? My 8. I'm up to my number 8. That is This Is Spinal Tap. Have you ever seen This Is Spinal Tap?
I've only seen it once, oddly enough.
Okay, so yeah, you didn't put it on your mentions list either.
I know it's a fun film, but I don't know why I've just never seen it more.
Oh, okay. Well, this is a mockumentary. I think it's one of the first mockumentaries. I think that Woody Allen may have done a mockumentary before this one, but Rob Reiner took the idea of the rockumentary and just fictionalized it. And like I said, he made up this band. Spinal Tap was the name of the band. It actually turns out there are a lot of people in this movie. Okay, This Is Spinal Tap had in it Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, Harry Shearer. Rob Reiner is he's in the movie as the director of the mockumentary. Right, so he's playing a character. He's playing the fictitious version of himself. I don't even think I don't think he's actually playing Rob Reiner. He's playing like a fictitious director, I think, if I remember the movie right.
The Gospel According to Spinal Tap. This pretentious, ponderous collection of religious rock psalms is enough to prompt the question, what day did the Lord create Spinal Tap, and couldn't he have rested on that day too?
All right, so we got a couple of cameos. We get Bruno Kirby is in this, Ed Begley Jr. I know that there's a Billy Crystal. Billy Crystal's in this movie. He has a great line about he's like a mime, but he talks. There's a great scene where Billy Crystal talks as a mime, and they're at this restaurant or whatever, and he's like, they're all the waiters are mimes, I think, and he's like, all right, come on, everybody, mime is money, mime is money.
I used to be an actor, you know.
Oh, yeah?
But I had a problem. I can never remember my lines.
I see.
Everything
So,
shut up. You know,
yeah.
don't say nothing. You know,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
father sort of started this thing, you know, because at home with food and the way my father was, it was weird. He used to say the same to me every dinner. He'd say the same thing to me: "Shut up and eat." So that's what we do.
I see.
That's the name of the company.
Words of
Shut up
wisdom.
and eat.
Yeah.
Really funny moment of the movie. Dana Carvey has Fran Drescher has actually a kind of significant part in this. This was way before The Nanny, and she plays like a record executive or something, and she has a great line because the new Spinal Tap album that's supposed to be coming out, Spinal Tap is this aging rock band. You can see that all the people in this band are kind of getting too old to be like a rock and roll band. And they're trying to rekindle their former success by coming out with a new album. And they call the name of the album Sniff the Glove. Talk about your album titles that we totally canceled nowadays. And it is, I think the album cover is this beautiful woman like sniffing a glove. and what's her name? Fran Drescher is trying to tell their band manager, like, who gives a shit about the cover?
Ian, you put a greased, naked woman on all fours with a dog collar around her neck and a leash. And a man's arm extended out up to here, holding on to the leash and pushing a black glove in her face to sniff it. You don't find that offensive?
No,
you don't
no.
find that sexist?
This is 1982.
That's
Bobby,
right,
come
it's
on.
1982. Get out of the 60s. We don't have this mentality anymore.
Well, you should have
Listen
seen the
to me.
cover they wanted to do.
I don't care
What's
what
the
they
glove,
want.
believe me.
See, now this is something, Ian, that you're going to have to talk to your boys about.
We're certainly not laying
And I don't
down
think
any
that a
conditions.
sexy cover is the answer for why an album sells or doesn't sell. Because you tell me, the White Album, what was that? There was nothing on that goddamn cover.
The White Album, there was nothing on that cover. Right? That I remember. And so a lot of the ancillary characters in this movie have some of the best lines. There's Bruno Kirby Bruno Kirby has a cameo as a limo driver, and he's talking to Rob Reiner in the front seat, and Bruno Kirby's looking in the back in the rearview mirror, and he sees Michael McKean, I think, reading Sammy Davis Jr.'s biography, Sammy Davis Jr. Yes, I Can, right? And so he's trying to talk to him, going, "Hey, I read that book. You're reading Sammy Davis Jr.'s Yes, I Can, huh? You know what they should have called that book? Sammy Davis Jr. Yes, I Can, so long as Frank Sinatra says so."
Excuse me. Are you reading Yes, I Can?
Yeah. Have you read it?
Yeah, by Sammy Davis Jr.?
Yeah.
You know what the title of that book should be? Yes, I Can, if Frank Sinatra says it's okay. Because Frank calls the shots for all those guys.
Did you get to that scene where Frank and Sammy and what's his name, Jerry Lewis are coming out of the Copa, and Michael McKean wants nothing to do with it, so he puts up the partition.
Did you get to the part yet where Sammy's coming out of the Copa, and it's about 3 o'clock in the morning, and he sees Frank. Frank's walking down Broadway by himself.
And he totally cuts him off, so he's trying to relate to him by telling, because he's read the biography to Sammy Davis Jr. A lot of that shit's really funny. And the other really funny, there's a funny moment when they're trying to find the stage, and they take like 6 wrong turns to try to find the stage, and they never find it. I think they missed the show because they never actually find their way to the stage. That's really funny. And then the other one is when they find out that their Boston leg of their tour is canceled, and they say the funny line, "Oh, it's just Boston. It's not really much of a college town."
Oh, the other thing is that the Boston gig has been cancelled.
What?
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it, though. It's not a big college town.
But the iconic moment from that movie is when they're talking about the amps. You probably remember this.
Yeah,
moment.
11.
And he's trying to talk to him about, well, all my amps. See, most amps only go up to 10, but this amp goes up to 11. So if you just need that little extra one, you could just crank it up to 11. And then Rob Reiner says, well, why don't you just change that to be, why don't you make 11 10? You could just put the number at 10. That way, when you want to go to that loud, you just go, it's still louder, but it just still has 10. And then the guy looks at him all befuddled. He has no idea what he's talking about. He says, yeah, but all these go to 11.
The numbers all go to 11. Look, right across the board. 11, 11,
and most of
11,
the amps go up to 10.
Exactly.
Does that mean it's louder? Is it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it? It's not 10. You see, most blokes are going to be playing at 10. You're on 10 here, all the way up, all the way up, all the way up. You're on 10 on your guitar. Where can you go from there? Where?
I don't know.
Nowhere, exactly. What we do is if we need that extra push over the cliff, you know what we do?
Put it up to 11.
11, exactly. One louder.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
This is classic. This is a great, really, really funny movie.
Oddly enough, Fran Drescher actually reprises that character in The Nanny. She does like a dual role of that character and her character from The Nanny in one episode, which is kind of weird.
I don't remember that. I've watched The Nanny, but I think Ronnie really liked that show. It's most of the reason why I watched it. But I was never really a big fan of it. It's funny. It's actually a really funny show, but that I didn't really like very much. All right, so where are we? Your number 7. What's your number 7? Bachelor Party. All right, when did Bachelor Party come out? All right, so you get to lead on Bachelor Party. It's on your top 10 list.
It is just one of the more outrageous films that I have ever seen. I mean, at one point we've got a donkey snorting cocaine, and I honestly, there's so much in that film that just would not make it in today's film world that I just absolutely love it for, because it is stupid, it is ridiculous, it is the raunchiest and weirdest bachelor party anybody has ever had in creation. Yet it is still so damn funny. I mean, Tom Hanks is just shows just how great a comedian he can be in that film.
Yeah, it's one of the funniest movies, actually. Whereas, comedy per second, it's got to be right at the top.
Yeah, it's got so many great moments in it that just I've shown it to my nephew, and I didn't think he would like it, but he absolutely loved it. So it's one of those films, and that's kind of where I judge a lot of films. Like if I'm showing it to someone of a younger generation and they're still laughing their ass off at it, then it stayed the test of time.
I wonder if he's laughing because he knows he shouldn't be laughing at some of it because of how inappropriate it is nowadays to say some of those things and to have some of those things in a movie.
It could be
the taboo of it.
It could be, because I think a lot of those things, like he did the same. Airplane is another movie that probably couldn't get made today, yet still is one of the greatest comedies of all time. And I think a lot of it is they don't get, like, kids of that age don't necessarily get exposed to those things anymore, and maybe for good, maybe for bad. But at the same time, like I said, it holds up for a reason. We'll go over if I ever get around to doing 1980, we'll do Airplane. But that's actually not as inappropriate as you think it is. This is our second Tom Hanks movie of the year already. So he'll obviously come up later on when we're doing actor and actress of the year. The other notable actor that I like from this movie is his friend, Adrian Zmed. And I know him more from Grease 2 than I know him from this movie. But I love him as his best friend in this movie. He's so fucking funny. Oh my God, he's almost as funny as Hanks is in this movie. He's such a great sidekick character.
I had someone who was in my every thought. Somebody I could spend all my time with. Somebody I could really respect. Hey, look at the cans on that bingo.
Yeah, he really is. And you know, the funny thing is while some of the other actors aren't really as notable as in other films, like you don't really know them, so many of those sidekick characters in this movie actually turn out to have such great moments that are just fucking hysterical. Um, the guy sleeping with the transvestite and finding out that he's actually a man in the bathroom because he stands up and pees.
Yeah, I love that guy.
It's so inappropriate, but the whole thing is he just sells that moment of shock of what have I done so well.
Who's the one who gets the hookers? Who's the little guy? Is that the same
yeah,
guy?
that's the same guy. Yeah, that's the same guy.
Right. That's all right. He is, because he has a great journey the whole movie, because he has to lead the bachelor party for a while and find the hookers. Really, his journey is funny. His movie is a funny movie too, all by itself.
Yeah, I love when he goes to the Indian pimp, which again is fucking hysterical. But you know, he says to him, he's like, if they're not back by a certain time, Milt will come for you and take your balls. And he's like, I just bet my balls and shook on it.
Girls back in 45 minutes, or Milt cuts your balls off. Fair enough? Shake.
I just bet my balls and shook on it.
Which is such a great line.
The line now, the bad guy, the heavy in this movie is played by Robert Prescott. Yeah, he was also the heavy in one of the heavies in Real Genius, and he likes the Tom Hanks's bride to be, right? And he's hoping that to catch Tom Hanks doing all these inappropriate things so he can show her that he's a terrible person and maybe she won't marry him. Anyway, he shows up at the bachelor party, and Tom Hanks has, I think, the funniest line in the movie. He says, "Oh my God, I can't believe you made it. Who here ordered the asshole? Was it you? Was it you? Did you order
Hey, it's Cole. Did any of you guys order an asshole from room service?
the asshole?" Fucking great, man. Really funny. This is, you know what? Probably the one with the house. What's the one with the
Money Pit.
Money Pit's probably the funniest movie that Hanks has ever been in, but this has got to be up there. This is definitely top 5 funniest movies that Hanks has ever been. It's just a crazy funny movie.
One of my favorite things is when they get to the theater, the multiplex, and there's like 96 theaters, and like one's like a friggin' closet, like for janitor supplies, and that whole thing is just hysterical.
And the girls, the bachelorette party is kind of wild too, right? And the mom or whatever, one of them older women,
yes,
she's like trying to take this hot dog, which she thinks is a hot dog, but it turns out it's the guy's penis. So she's tugging on the foot long, which she thinks is a foot long hot dog.
Nick the Dick, one of the greatest characters in cinema history.
Okay. In slapstick comedy history.
Yes.
Okay, so that one was not going to be on my top 10 list, but was one of my notable movies from 84. All right, so what's my number 7? My number 7 is Starman. Have you ever seen the movie Starman? You don't have it in your list, so I don't know if you've ever seen it.
I have seen it, but again, I think it's one of those one and done movies for me. I saw it on cable, but I really haven't seen it since.
This is played up like a bigger movie than I think that it wound up being. Mostly because of the score and just the tone of the movie is quite serious. But anyway, this woman played by Karen Allen, she has lost her husband, and an alien that takes on the same form, like it looks exactly like her dead husband, comes down to Earth for some reason or whatever. He's stranded. I forget what the plot of this is, whether he's stranded on Earth or whatever, but he has to get to this rendezvous point so that he could be picked up by his home world, whatever, the aliens that he's a member of their race. And she has got to help him get across the country to get to his rendezvous. Anyway, it's played. She kind of falls in love with him, mostly because he looks just like her dead husband, obviously.
I look like Scott, so you do not be a little bit jumpy.
He looks exactly like him. But he's also very charming, and he does speak English, but it's not like a very fluent English.
What do you do when you're not hitching rides?
Oh, I make maps.
Make any money?
I make maps.
You don't get rich cooking either, but
And Jeff Bridges is amazing. I think Jeff Bridges is I think he's one of my favorite actors when I think about it. Maybe not. One of the actors who I think is like one of the best actors around. If I look at his whole career and just look at how good he is in each one of his performances, I have a hard time thinking to myself, well, that wasn't a very good performance by Jeff Bridges. I almost think he does a great job every single time he's in a movie, to the point where I probably don't think of him as one of my favorite actors until I think about that. Once I realize that almost every single one of his performances is an incredible performance, he probably is. He definitely belongs as one of my favorite actors of all time.
Well, I think with Jeff Bridges, it's one of those things where I don't know whether he just is very careful in picking and choosing what he does, or he just spaces things out so well that you don't ever really kind of consider him on that level, but he really is there.
Yeah, I don't know if there's ever a moment in his career where he's like everywhere, like he's in everything. He's never really in everything, but he's always around. He's never gone away. But like you said, he's never been like a huge star, but he's always been there. Yeah, I don't know if he ever reached A-list. He won an Oscar eventually for the movie Crazy Heart. And he was been nominated a number of times. I think he's even nominated this year for this movie.
You are a strange species, not like any other. And you would be surprised how many there are. Intelligent but savage. Shall I tell you what I find beautiful about you? You are at your very best when things are worst.
This probably was his first Oscar nomination. And yeah, but so you're probably right. He probably did space out his career enough so where he was always there, but he was never everywhere. He was never ever in everything. You know what I mean? He never really reached that next level of superstardom.
Yeah, it's not like Chris Pratt where he has a movie coming out every other week, you know?
Yeah. But he also never reached like Daniel Day-Lewis status where he was considered the greatest actor in the world either. So he always found that spot between those two, where he's had commercial success in movies and he's in some of my favorite movies ever. But like I said, if you look at his batting average, it's very, very high. I think that people don't realize how good Jeff Bridges' batting average is as far as good performance. You know what I mean? As a in relationship to how many movies he's been in his career. Karen Allen is another one. She was a very omnipresent. She's one who's probably been in a lot of movies in the 1980s. She's more of an 80s actress than most of the actresses we're going to talk about, because I don't really think she has much of a career in the 90s. Right? I think that almost all of Karen Allen's career exists in the 1980s. Once the calendar turns to the 90s, we don't really ever see her again.
Well, we've discussed that before with other women. It's a weird dynamic for women where they kind of have like a 10-year period where that's their fame, and either family life takes over or Hollywood has abandoned them and said, we don't need you anymore because you're not hot anymore. You know?
We go to somebody younger now. Yeah, exactly. They age out. What was Karen Allen in and around Starman? She was in Raiders of the Lost Ark a couple of years earlier, obviously. That's really where she burst onto the scene. And she really wasn't in very much. She feels like she was in a lot more, but she really wasn't in that much. Her next biggest role really isn't until Scrooged in '88. Well, I guess she's an actress that feels like she was in more than she really was. All right, well, that's interesting. Right? If you had asked me, I would have said that Karen Allen was one of the bigger actresses of the 80s, but she really wasn't in very much. This is probably her second biggest movie of the 1980s. Well, third, yeah. Third. This is her third biggest movie of the 80s. She had Raiders of the Lost Ark, Starman, and Scrooged. That was her 80s. All right, so sorry to trump you up there, Karen Allen. You weren't as big as I thought you were.
Maybe it's just quality over quantity.
No, she has one of those faces that I just felt like she's like been in a lot of 80s movies. But no, but it is still true that she disappeared after the 90s. She really wasn't in much else after that. So that was my movie, right? That was my number 7. So what's your number 6?
That would be Revenge of the Nerds.
Their action tonight demands an immediate retaliation. And if we don't, we're nothing but the nerds they say we are. I know what we're gonna do.
Yeah, we're up to Revenge of the Nerds already. Okay, so that Revenge of the Nerds was a summer movie, right? So, right. So right in the middle of July comes out this movie called Revenge of the Nerds, and you get to. I have some stuff to say about Revenge of the Nerds, but I'm gonna let you go first.
It dawns from that time of the raunchy teen sex comedies, and they're not teens at this point; they're college students. But I think a lot of it just it's a fun movie with the exception of that one awful scene that has not aged well at all, where he takes advantage of her at the carnival. But it still is a very funny movie with a lot of really odd but fun characters. So I can't help but love it.
Okay, so Revenge of the Nerds presents itself, like you said, like a sex comedy. And it is. I'm not saying that it isn't a sex comedy, but it also this movie exists on a couple different levels. There's actually some more levels to this movie than meets the eye. And this has the benefit, like I said, of being in this golden age of our youth where we might give classic status to something that might not be as serious as something else that might be given classic status. But if you do give this movie the benefit of history, if you do give this the benefit of giving it like a closer look, you realize there's more going on in this movie than just a sex comedy. What I mean by that is that this was like the first movie that really spotlighted nerds as a character to be centered around in a movie, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely is.
And I was also trying to think of, now again, I don't really know what was going on in 84 enough or remember well enough to know, but did this make the word nerds popular? Did this popularize the word nerds? This movie? Were people called nerds before Revenge of the Nerds?
Yeah, they definitely were. Nerds, geeks, whatever you wanted to call it. I think they were. It was a used term. I think this was the first movie to use the term, and it almost give it a positive, inclination to it. So I think that's probably what sets it apart.
So it didn't invent the term nerds, but I don't ever remember hearing that word before this movie. I think that it had a different meaning because nerd, if nerd actually has a real definition, I think it does. And I think nerd is somebody who's incredibly smart, right? Whose personality revolves around them being smart. Like I'm a nerd. Like I know that. It defines, it's a very big part of my personality is that I'm a film nerd. I'm a sports nerd. You know what I mean? I'm like that. And that's fine. I'm comfortable with that. I don't use it as a put down, but it is a way of class, like intellectuals, who are concerned with being smart or being the smartest sometimes, but they are all about learning and knowing things and just, like I said, information and just nerds. That's what they are. A geek is somebody different. A geek is more like somebody who doesn't fit in. You can be a geek and not be smart. And if you're not smart, then you're not a nerd. In my opinion, that's how I think that I've wound up defining those two terms. So you can be a geek and a nerd. You can be a geek and not a nerd. But if you're a nerd, you're probably also a geek too. But not necessarily, but probably. You probably are. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can see that definitely. Oddly enough, the word geek, if I remember correctly, originated back in carnival times where they would get somebody to like bite heads off chicken. They would get them like strung out on drugs or alcohol or whatever, and that guy would get so desperate he would do anything for whatever. So I kind of use that in that term as well. But I do see, yeah, I mean, there is kind of a difference of just being like an outcast and being a smart outcast.
Yeah. So anyway, for those of you who may not have seen the movie Revenge of the Nerds, what have you been doing since 1984? But these college freshmen who are nerds, like I said, they're very incredibly intelligent, move into this college campus, and they get booted out of their dorm by the jocks who set their frat house on fire. And they have got to now find a place to live instead of living in the gym and only half the gym at that. So they find this beaten down house and they fix it up and they form their own fraternity. So, and so Robert Carradine stars as the main nerd, and alongside of him is Anthony Edwards. Timothy Busfield, who winds up having a career that is almost unrecognizable to his role as Poindexter in this movie. If everybody who sees the movie, anyone knows Timothy Busfield already, but has never seen Revenge of the Nerds, go see Revenge of the Nerds and tell me how long it takes you to find Timothy Busfield in this movie. Because if you didn't know who he was, you wouldn't find him till you read the credits, right?
Yeah, Busfield almost becomes a chameleon in this movie. And the weird thing about that is I was reading that he, in an interview, he talked about that one when he first went in for his audition. He literally stopped at like a secondhand store, a thrift store, and pulled that entire look and outfit together from just his thoughts out of his head and went, "This is what I'm going to go in and do it as." But it ends up working so amazingly.
He showed up in character for the audition?
Yeah.
That's cool. Anyway, he plays Poindexter. And so now Booger is the one who I don't actually think is a nerd. He's among the nerds because he's an outcast, but he's more of a geek than he is a nerd.
Yeah.
He's really gross and he's very weird. He's kind of a
pervert.
Yeah. Right. He's definitely kind of very, I don't know what's the right word for him. I don't even think he's geeky. He's just kind of like a dirtbag.
Yeah.
What are you looking at, nerd? Huh?
I thought I was looking at my mother's old douchebag, but that's in Ohio. This is bullshit. I want Bush. Stand down. We've got Bush. We've got Bush.
Really just doesn't fit in with anyone, really. Even the nerds, he really doesn't exactly fit in.
Right, he's so much more vulgar than they are. But I don't think he's actually very smart. He's not really one of the smarter ones. And they're also the one who plays Luttrell. Who's the one who's
Lamar Luttrell, yeah.
Lamar, right. Thank you, Lamar. He's among the nerds because he's gay in the movie and he's not accepted because of his sexual orientation. But also he's not very smart either. So they're all lumped together as just this group of outcasts. But anyway, getting back to what I was trying to say at the beginning was that this movie champions this idea of being the outcast in a way that I don't think a lot of other movies had. They took this ragtag bunch of outcasts, like people who had up to this point had really been made fun of in other movies, and this movie makes fun of them too, but bands them together and makes them the heroes. And at the end of the movie, it's very uplifting. You know what I mean? Have you ever been that scene that what's his name? Who's the name of the character? There's Gilbert and the other one.
Lewis.
Lewis, right. Lewis says to this pep rally of people, if you've ever felt like you were picked on or stepped on or whatever, come and join us, because we have, we have word for the beautiful people out there. There's a lot more of us than there are of you.
We have news for the beautiful people. There's a lot more of us than are of you. I know there's alumni here tonight. When you went to Adams, you might have been called a spaz, or a dork, or a geek. Any of you that have ever felt stepped on, left out, picked on, put down, whether you think you're a nerd or not, why don't you just come down here and join us, okay?
It's a great moment of the film. It's very triumphant. It's a wonderfully triumphant moment at the end of the film, and it really elevates this otherwise slapsticky sex comedy into something more than that, where we have to examine how we treat these people who we'd otherwise dismiss or make fun of as the heroes. And I think that that's definitely worth celebrating. And it's one of the many reasons why this movie is not just a silly, funny movie. It's actually kind of an uplifting film, in my opinion.
No, it does definitely make it stand out. It's a great speech, and I think that's kind of what, and maybe it's just, putting a cap on it at the very end, but I think the message is there throughout most of the movie. Just that brave stand of his, kind of, right in the face of the jocks who are ready to beat the crap out of him.
Yeah.
And after the jocks have done such horrible things to them, that brave speech of just standing out and saying, hey, listen, we are people and we deserve it as much as anybody else.
I mean, all our lives, we've been laughed at and made to feel inferior. And tonight, those bastards, they trashed our house. Why? Because we're smart? Because we look different? Well, we're not.
That's excellent. That's an excellent part of the speech.
Yeah.
My other one is when they do the show. The song that they do for the
yes.
show, it's so good.
The skit, yeah.
We got a rockin' rhythm and a high-tech sound that'll make you move your body down to the ground. We got Poindexter on the violin, and Louis and Gilbert will be joining in. We got Booker Presley on the mean guitar, and a rap by little old me Lamar. We got the car sheet beating on his gong. The boys and the moves are clapping along, and just when you thought you seen it all, along comes a lambda 4-foot tall. So won't you come on out here on the floor, so we can work our bodies like never before.
That's really, really good. That whole song is excellent. All right, so where am I? That was your number 6. My number 6. Oh, I love that. I
gotta throw this in before you get to your number 6. Oddly enough, there will be a Revenge of the Nerds reunion of the cast in Raritan Center in Edison on August 9th, 10th, and 11th. 8 of the cast members are going to be there, including Robert Carradine. So that's actually a pretty big reunion
for the anniversary of the film.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's great. When is it going to be?
August 9th, 10th, and 11th.
I was going to say, they put it in July. It would have been matched up with the day of the release of the film. Released in July of '84. But still, anniversary year, perfect time to do it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so my number 6, and this is why I'm actually glad that I had to adjust my top 10 list, because it allowed me to put on my top 10 list Muppets Take Manhattan. I love this movie. Oh man, this actually would not have made my top 10 list had not many of our movies matched during the year. I remember going to see this in the theater, and this has a ton of great songs in it. Now, this is the third Muppet movie. There was Muppet Movie, Great Muppet Caper, which is amazing, and then this is Muppets Take Manhattan. And this was the last movie of Jim Henson's life. Jim Henson dies before, I think he dies before they make another Muppet movie. So this was the last Muppet movie he was alive for. So this is kind of like a love letter to Jim Henson, the creator of the Muppets. And I've always loved the Muppets. I think they're so funny. It's a lot of nuanced humor that is great on a lot of levels. It's great for kids. Kids love the Muppets, but adults love the Muppets because the jokes work for adults too.
Gonzo, are you okay? I just saw my whole life flash before my nose. Camilla, she's hyperventilating. She needs mouth-to-beak resuscitation. Clement, he never wanted our show. He just wanted our money. Gonzo, is Camilla all right? Yeah, but I think we're engaged.
And the songs are so incredibly well written in Muppets Take Manhattan. I have probably put it in the opening of this episode, and just in case I haven't, or even if I haven't, I don't care. The moment, the song "Look at Me, Here I Am" is so great. It's like if I had to make a soundtrack of my life, and whatever, I was telling the story of my life through song. At some point, that song belongs in my soundtrack. And it's just the "Look at me, here I am, right where I belong." It's
Look at me, here I am, right where I belong. I see that face coming back to me like an old familiar song.
so classic. It's just so iconic to me. It just whenever I hear it, that moment when he starts singing that song is just wonderful. I've been talking about this for a minute or two. I don't even know if you've ever seen or what your relationship is to this movie.
I have seen it. I don't know that I've seen it in a long time. I don't know why. I mean, I think it's one of those movies where I saw it maybe in the theater. I don't know. But I know, I think it's one of those films where, oddly enough, it just didn't get played a lot on cable afterwards. I don't know why, and it was a good movie. Honestly, all those first three movies that you mentioned are just amazing. And I love the Muppets as well.
So, I do remember seeing this movie a bunch on cable. Maybe we just had different cables.
Maybe.
But I love all the songs. I'll do a little clip show of the songs, but
Together again. Gee, it's good to be together again. Somehow I know we'll meet again. Not sure quite where, and I don't know just when. You're in my heart, so until then, it's time for saying goodbye. I've been to you every summer, and then I think I'll start declaring your love. And I'm gonna make a stupid thank you, and I'm gonna always love you.
all the songs are really good. There are a bunch of songs from this movie that should have been, at least one of them, I don't know which one, but at least one of them should have been nominated for best song in a movie, and none of them were, which is a shame because this is this has so many songs in it. It's really kind of like a musical. Yeah, I guess so. There are enough songs in this movie that this is a musical comedy drama. That's how many genres this is put into. And it's an interesting story. It's not actually, it's a little bit thin, but it's still a pretty good story. And like I said, the whole thing is layered with wonderful jokes.
Do you believe in interspecies dating?
Well, I've gone out with some rats before, if that's what you mean.
All right, you got to write it down.
Photographic memory.
Write it down.
All gets quiche, whatever that is.
Look, buddy, I don't take my clothes off for anyone, even if it is artistic.
Rubber balls, rubber fire hydrants, rubber newspapers. Snookums prefers the rubber Wall Street Journal to the rubber Washington Post. Don't we all?
Listen, Lenny, my private plane's double parked outside, so I gotta run, but I got this Boffo Sacco script for a Broadway slot called Manhattan Melodies. It's totally today, yet tremendously timeless, and I'm giving you first look-see because we're like family. Have I ever lied to you, Lenny? Whoop, I think I hear my beeper. Listen, I gotta split. I'll have your people call my people, okay? We'll take a meeting, all right? We'll set a conference call, and remember, Lenny, Boffo Lenny, Sacco Lenny, okay? I'll call you. We'll have lunch.
Little lumpy dum-dums won't have his daddy to give him washy scrumpy.
Very impressive. You speak Chinese like a native.
Oh, wait till I tell the guys in marketing. Maybe you expect me to go hog wild? Maybe perhaps you could bring home the bacon, huh? Oh, the sounds of love. Sweet, oink, oink. Continue the show.
And great songs, and the closing number is wonderful. The scene at the end when Miss Piggy and Kermit get married is, to this day, one of my very favorite wedding scenes in any movie I have ever seen in my entire life.
Somebody's getting married. Somebody's getting married. Somebody's getting married. Somebody's getting. Somebody's getting. Somebody.
Do you remember the wedding scene in Muppets Take Manhattan?
I do, and I think the reason why it resonates so well is because it's not treated in it stupidly. You know what I mean? It's presented almost as if these two characters are 100% real and their wedding is 100% serious.
Yep. The song "He'll Make Me Happy" is wonderful as she's coming down the aisle. There is a world where that could have been my wedding song. It made the top 5 choices for my wedding song. And in that scene, in that song, every single Sesame Street and Muppet character is in that church, which is so unbelievably incredible.
Are they here yet? Are they here yet? Did I miss it? Am I late?
No, they'll be here any minute.
Oh boy, we can hardly wait.
Isn't this exciting? It's the wedding of the year.
Well, can't we start without them? No, you can't until they're here.
If you've ever watched Sesame Street or the Muppets in any time, you will see every character that you've ever seen all in the church, all at the same time. It's incredible.
She only knows he'll make her happy. That's all she needs to know.
Elmo wasn't a thing yet, so he wasn't in there. But every other character that you know from the Sesame Street / Muppet universe, all in this church singing that song. Amazing moment of the movie. And to this, like I said, one of my favorite movie weddings of all time. And I saw it recently. It was on cable a few weeks ago, and I fell in love with it all over again. Definitely, I'm so glad that I got to put it on my top 10. All right, we're up to your top 5.
It's 16 Candles.
Yeah, 16 Candles. This would have made my top 10 too, but like I said, I adjusted it out because it was higher on your list. So you get first dibs on 16 Candles. Go ahead.
16 Candles, I mean, it probably shouldn't be a movie, a young boy. It's more, I feel it's more geared towards young women. But it's still a very funny and touching story. I mean, even just the concept that, a family was so busy they forgot their younger daughter's birthday over the concept of, the older daughter's wedding.
Come on now, honey, you're going to miss the bus. Have a good day.
I can't believe this. They fucking forgot my birthday.
I do. It makes me laugh every time I see it. And okay, I will again one of these movies where it's a little inappropriate in the character of Long Duck Dong, but it's still one of those things that makes me laugh every time I see the movie. It's a romance, really. It's a comedy, but it's a romance in an understory, but it's still just a fun movie. And I think everybody's had that moment where they don't feel like they're recognized by the world. So I think that's kind of why it's such a great touchstone for people.
When you see that guy, the Wong, what's the first thing I always think of is automobile?
Automobile?
Where is my automobile?
Wong, where is my automobile? And he says, automobile. So good. He has a bunch of crazy, hilarious lines in this movie.
Oh, sexy girlfriend! Manzai! Oh, no more Yankee, my wanky. The donga need food.
All right, so let's start with first thing you said is I disagree right off the top that I don't think this is a girls' movie. First of all, it's written and directed by John Hughes, so it has a lot of guy sensibility to it. Plus, there is the presence of the genius Anthony Michael Hall, who is carrying the other half of this movie, aside from Molly Ringwald, who's carrying the first half of it. So you know what I mean? This movie really exists in two halves. There's the Molly Ringwald movie, but there's also the Anthony Michael Hall movie that's kind of going on at the same time.
Yes, I'm back.
So I smell.
That's my shaving cream. Want to a real clean, close shave?
I'll pass. Couldn't find anyone else to bug, huh?
Come on, you know you're the one I want to bug, huh?
So the Molly Ringwald movie is for the girls, and the Anthony Michael Hall movie is for the guys.
That's a good point.
And I identified very much so with Anthony Michael Hall. We've talked about him on other podcasts, how he grew up so fast in front of our eyes over this period, in this era that I was talking about, between 83 and 90. He grew up so fast. But he's so smart alecky. He's a geek. He's more of like a geek, but he's like king of the geeks. That's the cool thing about Anthony Michael Hall. He's kind of cool for a geek, right?
Yeah.
And he's like he's their king.
I know I came on kind of like a cruiser on the bus tonight and everything, but that's just so my friends won't think, I'm a jerk.
But they're all pretty much jerks, though, aren't they?
Yeah, but the thing is, I'm kind of like the leader, kind of like the king of the dipshits.
Right? He would be cooler if he just looked like the hunk that Molly Ringwald was in love with in this movie.
Yeah.
Right? And it's ironic that guy, what's his name? Michael Shuffling was the guy playing her love interest in this movie, right?
Yeah.
And he is actually really shy and more like he's not really that cool. He doesn't really act very cool anyway. And so you would think he would act more like Anthony Michael Hall. Anthony Michael Hall is acting really cool in this movie, but he looks like Michael Schiffling is acting.
Sometimes a week I go without lunch because some bitch borrows my lunch money. Any halfway decent girl can rob me. Blind. Because I'm too torqued up to say no. It's innocent, sorry. But I feel compelled to mention to you, Jake. If all you want off the girl's a piece of ass, I'll either do it myself or get someone bigger than me to kick your ass. Not many girls in contemporary American society today would give their own away to help a geek like me.
I want a serious girlfriend. Somebody I can love. That's gonna love me back. So that's how I go.
It's beautiful, Jake.
Anyway, there's so many great moments from this film and a lot of great lines from this movie. All right, so we got, like I said, we have Molly Ringwald, Anthony Michael Hall, Justin Henry, who I didn't realize until I did the research. Justin Henry plays Molly Ringwald's younger brother in this movie. He was the little boy from Kramer versus Kramer. Did you know that?
Somewhere in the back of my mind, I think I have read that before, but it's not something I remember all the time.
He was one of the youngest people ever to be nominated for an Oscar. He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor for Kramer versus Kramer. And I always just thought that kid was some bratty kid, the bratty brother of Molly Ringwald in 16 Candles. I never placed the two. I never would have figured that. But reading in the credits and going over who's Justin Henry in this movie, and it's like, oh yeah, he's the little brother. And then sure enough, in his Wikipedia page, it says he's the little boy from Kramer versus Kramer. I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe it's the same kid. Wow, it's amazing. So Kramer versus Kramer was 79. So that was 5 years later. Yeah, he didn't really go up that fast. That was not a good 5 years for Justin Henry. He looked a lot better when he was in Kramer versus Kramer.
Is there something you want to say to your sister?
What? Are you kidding? Where should I start?
I mean about her birthday. It was yesterday. We all forgot.
Classic.
Okay, so tell us about 16 Candles.
Oh, we've got both Joan Cusack and John Cusack in it as well, which is kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, they were in a couple of movies, and both John Cusack and Joan Cusack are both in multiple movies in '84, but they seem to be a package deal in '84.
Yeah.
They were both in they were both in 2 movies this year, and they were in the same they were both in the same movies this year. So they kept acting together. And they were never brother and sister characters.
Yeah, I mean,
really
even later on, they did Grosse Point Blank together, and they still did not play siblings either.
And they weren't siblings in High Fidelity either. I know they did. I don't know if they've ever played brother. They did in Say Anything. They were they were brother and sister characters.
And then, of course, Haviland Morris plays the girlfriend Jake is trying to get rid of, the party girl.
Right. The girl winds up getting her hair cut off.
Promise you won't get mad? No, I love you. Okay, close your eyes. I don't know how to thank you enough.
And I've actually spoken to Haviland through email.
Person, really?
No, I didn't get to meet her in person. I spoke to her through email. I actually managed to track her down and get an email address and spoke to her. And she is just one of the nicest people.
What are you stalking Haviland Morris for?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know how I actually found that out. I guess I was looking for people and find out, like searching them, and I came across like an actual. Without going into too many details, she has a other job besides acting, and that's how I was able to find a contact information for her. And she was just absolutely a wonderful person to speak to through email. And I always kind of hope one day she'll start do the convention circuits.
Okay. Hey, if I think my sister doesn't work out. She's a bit older than you, but but hey, what the hell? Anyway, she's incredibly attractive in this movie. She plays the bitchy popular girl, right?
Yeah.
She winds up getting so plastered that somebody needs to take her home, and so Michael Scheffling enlists Anthony Michael Hall to do it, and he has to drive his father's Rolls Royce. Is that right?
Yes.
And he brings her over to John Cusack's house and has them take a picture so that he has documented evidence. He goes, "Come on, guys, I'm breaking like 16 laws here."
It's a Rolls Royce. Ted, that's the prom queen. You got 2 girls in one night. I told you dudes always hot. Hot, Ted, you're a legend. You shut up. People around here work, all right? Now, will you hurry it up? I'm breaking like 30 major laws here. Come on.
Wait a minute, black and white. It would just capture the moment so nicely.
You take the picture already? You're pissing me.
And the picture ends up being like the tops of their heads.
Right, she puts she says cheers, and she puts the beer can in front of the camera so you can't even see his face. So funny. Anyway, Anthony Michael Hall is my favorite part of this movie. I love his half of the movie a million times more than her half. And I'll find great moments from this movie and put them all in here.
I swear to God, this has got to be a joke. Grandparents forgetting a birthday? They live for that shit.
She's gotten her boobies.
Oh, I better go get my magnifying glass.
Oh, and they are so perky.
Can't believe my grandmother actually felt me up.
Would it be totally off the wall if I asked if I could have sex with you?
You know, you asking me is not as off the wall as why I won't.
BD?
Very nice. We have 5 minutes and I'm at a loss.
You know, I'm getting input here that I'm reading is relatively hostile. I mean, it's
Go to hell.
very hostile. That's me one question.
Yes, you're a total fag.
That's not the question. Am I turning you on? I bet them that I do it with you. But this is before I knew you as a person. I can get proof without actually getting physical.
How?
Can I borrow your underpants for 10 minutes?
I'll tell you something, but maybe I shouldn't. It's pretty bad.
You may as well. Nothing could shock me anymore.
Last night at the dance, my little brother paid $1 to see your underwear.
Yes. Hate that rock and roll rubbish. Well, I'm afraid it's here to stay.
John Hughes, right at the height of his powers, really just churning out hit after hit at this point in his career. We've talked about this on other podcasts about how he was the king of the high school comedy. Just he knew how to write teenagers so well, and he really just encompassed the entire teenage experience, high school experience from every angle. And this was just one of, I don't know if it's the best one, but it's definitely right up there as among the best ones. Is this your favorite John Hughes, or one of your favorite John Hughes?
I would probably say it's probably my second favorite. I mean, I really enjoy The Breakfast Club quite a bit.
Really?
But it's definitely got to be like number 2 at least.
I'm gonna go with Ferris Bueller. I think is my favorite.
Oh, you know, I did forget about Bueller. So okay, it probably holds the 3.
Okay. All right, so I'm on my number 5, right? All right. Johnny Dangerously.
Wait, Gustavus? So long, Johnny. Me, Gustavus? You, Gustavus. We missed the bus. They missed the bus. Be brave, huh, Johnny? When's the next bus?
Always, Niels.
Summa cum laude, magna cum laude. The radio's still loud. Anti-meridian, Uncle Meridian, all the little meridians.
Okay, so this is Michael Keaton's movie. Again, we've talked about Michael Keaton on the podcast and how he's one of my favorite actors too. And this is kind of like a what is this? It's not like a spoof, right? Is it a spoof of like?
Yeah, I would say it is in a lot.
It's like a gangster spoof. Is that right? Is this a gangster spoof?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, certainly it's playing on a lot of those tropes and making fun of them. So I would say it is.
Okay, right. So Johnny is telling this story to this boy about how when he used to be a gangster. And they're making, I guess so. This is kind of making fun of it. And he tells the story of him growing up, and he has this mother played by Maureen Stapleton, who looks like she's 80 years old when she's in her 20s. Whatever, her character is in her 20s. And he says there's even a scene where the young Johnny Dangerously says, boy, Mom, I can't believe that you're 29. And she goes, oh, I just hope I reach 30.
Happy birthday, Mom. Oh, bless the saints, it's an ashtray. Oh, I've been thinking of taking up smoking. This clinches it.
Meanwhile, she looks like she's 80. And every single time the doctor comes over, he goes, hey, Dr. Papadopoulos, or whatever the hell the doctor's name is. You know, how much? How much is it? It's her thyroid, Glenn. It's her thyroid, Johnny. We can't find it.
Hi, Dr. Magnus. How's my mother?
It's her thyroid, Johnny.
What's wrong with it?
We can't find it. Gonna have to do a thyroid search.
How much is that going to cost?
You're in luck. This week, a special $999.
So many good bits with that movie.
Right? And he goes, "Hey, it'd be great to see her spit again, right?" So anyway, so top billing, Michael Keaton, of course, is the main title character of the movie. Joe Piscopo, maybe his biggest movie of his career, right? Has Joe Piscopo ever been bigger in a movie than in Johnny Dangerously?
No, I would say that's probably the biggest. I mean, he's had movies where he starred in it, but honestly, I think this is probably the most successful and better film that he's ever done.
Yeah, I think this was the best movie. This was his most notable film. He was I want to say he was a Saturday Night Live actor for a while too, right? Yeah, he was on Saturday Night Live from 80 to 84. So I guess he had just, so there you go. He just left
Yeah.
Saturday Night Live to do movies, and this was his first movie since. And yeah, it didn't. He was huge. He was huge at 84. It didn't really turn out that great after that, but this is certainly his most notable film. He has a lot of great one-liners in the movie. Most notably, "You shouldn't do this to me, Johnny" lines. How many of those can you remember? "You shouldn't do this to me, Johnny. My mother did this to me once."
There's at least like 3 of them, if I recall, but I don't remember off the top of my head. But they are all funny lines. They kill you every time.
"You shouldn't shoot me, Johnny. My grandfather shot me once." Right? That is the last one, I think. "You shouldn't hang me on a hook, Johnny." My uncle hung me on a hook once.
Once.
Right. "You shouldn't hit me, Johnny. My father hit me once, right? That was, so it was slap me, hit me, hang me on a hook, and shoot me. They were the only ones I can remember.
You shouldn't grab me, Johnny. My mother grabbed me once. You shouldn't hang me on a hook. My father hung me on a hook once. You shouldn't kick me in the balls. My sister kicked me in the balls once. You shouldn't shoot me, Johnny. My grandmother shot me once.
It was a running gag. So there's who's the guy? What's his name? The old guy who runs the newsstand.
Oh, it's Ray Walston.
Oh yeah, Ray Walston. Yeah, there he is. And Ray Walston was from Damn Yankees, and who's My Favorite Martian?
Yeah.
Okay. And he plays, like I said, he plays the guy running the newsstand, and every time he's blind, right? He's blind and he can't he's blind, and then all of a sudden somebody throws a stack of newspapers at him and smashes him in the face, and then he gets up and he goes, I can see.
My God, I can see.
And then somebody says, how much is the paper? And he goes, what? How much is the paper? What? Oh, great, now I can't hear.
Is that the city edition? What? I said, is that the city edition?
Oh, no. Son of a bitch. Now I'm deaf.
And he goes, then he gets another one. He goes, I can hear again, and I can see, I can hear again. But who am I?
I can hear again, and I can see. I can hear again, and I can see. But who am I?
So there are a lot of running bits.
Yeah.
That keep like reoccurring in the movie. This had a great song in it too by Mary Lou Henner has a great song in this movie too called I Want to Live Dangerously. It's an underrated song from 1984. It's a really good movie song if you've ever heard it.
Yeah. It actually is.
Right? And so there are a bunch of movies songs that don't get recognized as, being song of, being nominated for Oscars. And this was one of those songs. And the one that I love, there's a bunch of back and forths that Johnny and whatever Michael Keaton and Mary Lou Henner have, where whatever they're just back and forthing to each other in a very 1940s kind of rat-a-tat-tat dialogue. And he says to her, "I'll give us one thing, we sure can banter." And yeah, like I said, it is a spoof. I've decided. After talking it out, I decided it's absolutely is a spoof. And there are a lot of great making fun of the gangster movie tropes in this movie. There's a great turn by Griffin Dunn as Johnny's brother.
Good news, sir. I've got enough evidence here to put Johnny dangerously where he belongs.
Hold it, Kelly. We don't even know such a man exists.
Until now. Sir, I have got conclusive evidence. Notarized depositions. Tire prints. Blood samples. I've got eyewitness accounts. Murder weapons. Fingerprints. Recording. Hold it.
In this movie, who else is in this movie? Peter Boyle is really good.
Yeah.
Where he thinks he loses his penis when it just turns out it's the handle to the toilet.
Hey, son of a bitch! What have you done to me? Look, calm down! Don't panic! Calm down! I'm standing here with my dog in my hands. Look! Thank God, it's just a change. Ready? You're still here. You little bald-headed beauty.
Danny DeVito with that small role, but it is funny in that movie as well.
Right, the smoking jacket scene. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
That's great. Dom DeLuise plays the Pope.
Yep.
Oh,
we can't forget Richard Dimitri as Roman, the rival gangster.
Oh,
knock down that wall, knock down that wall, and knock down that fucking wall.
Knock down that wall and knock down that wall and knock down that fucking wall. Yes, of course. How can we forget him?
He slaughters the English language and makes it hysterical every time.
You fucking sneaky bastard! I'm gonna take you to work! I'm gonna nail it to the wall! I'm gonna crush your boils in a meat grinder! I'm gonna cut off your arms! I'm gonna shove them up your asshole!
You lousy corksuckers! You have violated my fucking rights. This Samanambachin country was founded so that the liberties of common patriotic citizens like me could not be taken away by a bunch of fucking iceholes like yourselves.
I think I still use the term Fargan icehole.
Yeah, right. I can't put a clip of it in here. There's a newspaper headline saying he's sent back to Spain. He says he wasn't from there.
Yeah.
Yes. So he's great. Absolutely. I'm glad you brought him up. I would have forgotten about him. And then the lady who mops the floor. What the fuck her name is?
Oh.
What? How much would it take for you to tell the truth? 19,500. And then she pulls the money out of her pocket and she goes, "Boy, am I having a good year."
Doll, what's your name?
Mary Margaret Catherine Deneen.
How'd you like to make some money?
One at a time or both of you together?
What would it cost me to go clean room 708 and forget you ever saw us?
$17,000.
All right, 17 grand it is. Now look, do us a big favor and forget that we ever gave you this money, huh?
What money?
Atta girl.
Right. So, filled with one-liners the entire way. Great fun movie. Definitely got to check it out if you've never seen. I think that would hold up. I think that if kids today saw Johnny Dangerously, they'd still think it was funny.
I actually tried that on my nephew because I thought he would be okay with it because he did like Naked Gun and Airplane. He was bored out of it, oddly enough, but I still think it holds up very well. It's still very funny.
I'll try it with my kids. Maybe we'll have a better shot at it. All right. Okay, so that's it for part one of this episode. There was a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff to go over in this year, so it's going to be a multiple part episode. I gave up on the idea of just being a one part episode. You're right pretty much right from the beginning. Once you realize how much there was to say about all these movies. But we've already covered some great films. All right, so just a bunch of corrections actually for this episode. Artex. If you listen to this episode, you heard that Artex is the name of the horse in Neverending Story, not Valcor. Valcor is the name of the white dragon, luck dragon that you got to fly. The little boy does steal the book from the shop owner. Bosom Buddies was actually only for 2 seasons, and it ended in May of 1982. So yes, Bosom Buddies had ended. It was a question I just wanted to answer. Oh, we talked about Angel, one of the movies on Edward's top 10 list, a movie I still haven't seen. And while we were talking about it, he mentioned that there were a couple of sequels to it. So I should have put that on the list of other part 1s that came out in 1984. So there was a bunch of different times when I mentioned a clip during this episode, and then usually when I mention a clip, I'll quote something. I'll put a clip of that person saying the thing I just said. But in this particular case, it happened a couple times. And the first time it happened, I quoted something that Billy Crystal said in this is Spinal Tap, and I couldn't find it. I looked all over. I scoured it. I spent exhaustive amount of time on YouTube, could not find that clip anywhere. And This is Spinal Tap wasn't available for me to watch the whole thing, so I was at a loss. So, but I did find a clip of Billy Crystal as the mime in that movie. It was actually the clip you heard in this episode was a deleted scene of him as the mime talking to Rob Reiner, and it was really funny. So I put that in instead. So also, Jeff Bridges had been nominated for 2 Oscars before his nomination for Starman. He was voted for Best Supporting Actor in The Last Picture Show in 1972, and in 1975 for Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. I didn't comment on the carnival scene in Revenge of the Nerds. I know Edward kind of briefly mentioned it, and we didn't really, I didn't want to put a clip of it in here. I guess that is a scene that has been canceled. I don't really want to get into it too much. I think the clip survives time because Betty was very happy about what happened. I mean, I know it sends the wrong message that you obviously should never trick a girl into having sex with you, but he gets away with it because she preferred him to her boyfriend. So, it's dicey. I don't, like I said, I'm not condoning what he did in the movie or anything, and I didn't want to dwell on it, but he had mentioned it, and I didn't follow up on it when he commented on it, so I just wanted to mention it here. Another clip that I got wrong, another line that I gave the wrong clip to was the ashtray scene in Johnny Dangerously. Johnny gives his mom an ashtray. That's the clip that I actually put in. She's saying, "Oh, I was gonna take up smoking," and this clinches it. And then right after that is when he says that line, "How does it feel to be 29?" And she says, "Oh, I only hope I make 30." And that part was the part I quoted in the episode, and I couldn't find a quote of her saying that. And the other one too, the other one from Johnny Dangerously with the cleaning lady, when the Johnny's mom convinces her to do the right thing, the 19,500 for, she says, "Oh, I'm really happy, boy, I'm having a really good year." I couldn't find that clip either. I was looking all over the place. So it's been exhausting trying to find clips that I can't find. So I just put the other one in of her taking the bribe in the first place from Joe Piscopo. Other than that, those are all the corrections that I had. And we have a lot more to cover from 1984. So hopefully you will come back and listen to the next part of the movie year that was 1984. I will get that out as soon as possible. And until then, I will see you next time. Thanks for listening.